Hello and welcome to Sportswomen Connect. My name is Regina, your host. On Sportswomen Connect, we talk to girls, women and sports well-wishers to share ideas, experiences and aspirations for women in sport. Today we'll talk about medical issues affecting women in sport in Uganda with Dr. Robert Zavuga. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Regina, and I'm looking forward to discussing with you.
Nice. And kindly tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Like you've introduced me, my name is Dr. Robert Zavuga.
Okay.
I work with the Uganda Olympic Committee as the head of the National Anti-Doping Organization, which is the NADO, a body which is charged with fighting the drug use of sports, the illegal use of drugs in sports in Uganda, which is also an umbrella under the Uganda Olympic Committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get interested in sport, in medicine, sports medicine in particular?
Oh, really? I got interested in sports way back in my university days when I was still at the medical school. That was around 2002, 2003.
You're still very young.
Okay, when I was in my second year, that is when I was introduced to the discipline of sports medicine.
Okay.
Before that, I used to play like a normal athlete at the university. But during my second year, something particular happened to me. The head of sports in the university, that is Makerere University, approached me and asked me whether I would be interested in serving at the national level, at the national team. By then, the then head of the boxing team, Dr. Ntege Sengendo, wanted an assistant.
Okay. And you're just interning?
I was just a medical student.
Okay.
So the head of the university sports approached me and asked me whether I would be interested in working with the boxing federation. Okay. Of course, definitely I would say yes for a student. Why not? So I gave it a try.
No, but some students can say no. They're not ready.
Yeah, quite sure, because as you know, the curriculum of the university as a sports, as a medical student, is
usually
quite
very
heavy.
tight.
But good enough. I accepted the opportunity and I worked with the national team doctor by then, Dr. Ntege Sengendo, on the boxing team. Okay. I became his assistant throughout my medical school life until I finished.
So you had a job?
A part-time job, which was enough to cover the student needs. I know. And as time passed by, I also became the head of the. I eventually took over from Dr. Ntege as the head of the medical in the boxing federation, as the team doctor. Shortly before that, I also got introduced to rugby, and I remember during
all contact sports.
All contact sports, well put.
And yet you were playing cricket.
Yes, I was a cricketer. By then there was a team called Buffalo when it was still in Division 2, I think. I worked as their team doctor way back. Then, but more importantly, I got interested in boxing as well, in boxing mostly. However, during my days, when I was the team doctor for in rugby and also in boxing, the head by then of the Olympic sports medicine, Dr. Sekajugo, asked me whether I would be interested in working with the National Olympic Committee. Of course, definitely I would say yes.
Opportunities were just opening up.
Maybe because of my enthusiasm in sports and sports medicine. That's when I joined the Uganda Olympic Committee.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2009. Okay. That was in 2009. And like I said, eventually I took over to be the head.
So you took over, and how many ladies have you mentored while you were there?
I took over as the head of the Olympic Committee Medical Commission in 2013.
Okay.
And during that time, I mentored a lot of ladies. I mentored a lot of people in different federations.
Okay.
In different federations, swimming, athletics, boxing itself, badminton. And my role there was to build a base of medical doctors in sports who would, and we break away from this hegemony of one doctor for all sports. And I can proudly say that at least we've developed capacity in sports medicine, and in particular we've encouraged women participation
in sports medicine,
especially women medical practitioners in sports medicine. And that is why if you can look at the current composition of the Sports Medical Commission at the Uganda Olympic Committee, I can confidently say that we have 3 ladies out of the 6. So half female, half male.
That's a big milestone.
That one gives me happiness.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. And you've worked with some ladies teams before?
Yes, I worked with the netball team shortly when they were going to Dar es Salaam, the UPDF medical team. That was way back in 2014.
Okay.
I have some experience in
handling ladies.
In handling ladies.
Okay.
Yes.
Now that you mentioned that you have some experiences, what key medical, they may not be key to everyone, but what medical issues have you come across during your time working with the ladies or with the girls and women in sport?
Oh yeah. First of all, I would say that women are unique. They are a unique feature. They're not different but unique, and especially when they are participating in sports. Okay. And their uniqueness exposes them to various risks. Okay. Exposes them to various risks, and research has been carried out, and it is proven that women are more prone to injuries as compared to their male counterparts. Okay. That one alone puts them in a separate position on how to care for their needs. Okay. Women have a lot of some other issues, including nutrition. They have because of their hormones, some of them are exposed to bone injuries and so forth and so forth. Yeah.
So you've identified nutrition.
First of all, they are different. Yeah. So because of that, they're exposed to they're exposed to injuries
at higher risk.
They are at a higher risk of being exposed to injuries more than their male counterparts. Okay. Secondly, nutrition, and they have specific nutritional needs. Okay. Which are not general to their male counterparts. Okay. And also some are psychological. Women pass through a lot of stress. During participation, during sports, during training, during participation itself, especially when they are participating at the multi-level, at the multinational events. If they are newcomers, especially women are exposed to stress more than men, more than their male counterparts. Okay. Yeah.
So we have 4 very key issues. You spoke about the issue of menstrual cycle. How does it affect women in terms of participation? How does it affect girls or women from a doctor's perspective?
You know very well that during their cycle, because
our cycle. I'm right here. I'm right here.
I would like to talk to the women, not to you.
All right. I agree.
Anyway, generally, during women's cycle, when women go through their cycles, they have issues with their hormonal balances, and because of that, they're exposed to different levels of stress.
Okay.
And this one affects their participation. And also their coaches as well. They don't understand the women needs who are in menstrual periods. So that is why menstrual cycles particularly affect women and women participation
in sport.
Yes.
Okay.
However, some of the key issues, there's a very fundamental issue which affects women generally, and we call it the female triad.
Okay.
Triad is three. We're not speaking French here.
No, that's French. That's
three. Triad. The female triad affects women. In these are conditions, threes, which affect women. One of them is amenorrhea, failure to go for periods, and as athletes.
Okay.
And it affects them because of their hormonal imbalances, and because of stress they pass through. Sometimes they fail to go into periods as well. That's amenorrhea.
Okay.
They also have poor feeding habits.
Okay.
Poor feeding habits, and because of poor feeding habits, they really don't have energy to participate, even to train. And under that triad, there's also osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is let me say, when the bone is sick, let me put it that way
in simple terms, yes.
And it makes their bone.
It's osteoporosis.
Osteoporosis.
Okay.
The bone density is reduced.
Okay.
Is reduced because there are low calcium, there are low minerals. Remember, they have not been feeding well, so there are low minerals in the bone, osteoporosis, and it makes them prone to injuries.
Doctor, this is the first time I'm hearing about these terminologies. And I've been an athlete for like all my life. And it's
really?
Yes, it's the first. So this information for me, I feel is very important for all women and girls to kind of understand exactly where we are falling short, because it's the first time I'm hearing about it.
Sorry. So in a nutshell, it's a triad of threes. That is one. There is amenorrhea. Amenorrhea is failure to go for periods because of stress. I'm bringing it because of stress, which women undergo during training. Another one is failure to eat, eating disorders, and because they're not eating well, they're not taking in enough food, they're not taking enough minerals, even iron itself, which is essential in making blood and other minerals. They get osteoporosis, which is loss of bone density, and it makes their bones brittle. So they are more prone to injuries. Why should we be focused on these things? As a female athlete, you should be aware of these things which happen to you in your life,
to your body,
such that when you recognize any signs of loss of appetite, signs of depression, signs of stress, you seek medical treatment, because it is a treatable condition.
It's treatable.
Yes, that's a triad which is treatable.
Okay.
Yes.
And then there's an issue of doping these days. It's a big issue. And as president of the National Anti-Doping Organization, what steps are being taken to address that issue? Because I know that I think next month, but the Ugandan teams different sports are going for Commonwealth Games. Is it something that you are doing, you're handling at the moment?
Okay, excuse me. Now, doping is the use of illegal is the use of illegal drugs in sports for sports enhancement.
Okay.
Some people don't want to mention the word illegal because some drugs are outlawed in some countries.
Okay.
But generally, the use of drugs in sports for sports enhancement is doping. These drugs, some of them are medicinal. Some of them are taken by sick people, generally in hospitals. But these athletes try to abuse them and they use them for sports enhancement. So there are methods which are used to detect.
Are there some, like, like you're saying some are used, you know, the medicinal, but they're abused by athletes. What are some of these substances before we even go to the methods? What are some of these?
Some of these drugs, they're common drugs we see, like drugs which are used to treat common colds. Common colds. Those ones have stimulants which are banned and they enhance sports performance. Some of them are...
Okay, for the case of Uganda, if you're saying common colds, because what are those that are common to Uganda, so that we know, our athletes know that, you know, if you're in Uganda, please don't use ABCD.
I wouldn't want to mention a brand name here, really. But drugs which are used to treat common colds contain stimulants which are forbidden in sports. However, there are those drugs which are used to treat asthma. You know, when the asthmatics get an attack, their windpipe is narrowed, so they can't breathe well. So when they give their shot, the inhaler, the windpipe enlarges and air goes in well. So just imagine you're not an asthmatic and you're using the drugs which asthmatics use. The windpipe is a little bit, and you're taking in enough oxygen. So it gives you an advantage. So there are some of the drugs, they're medicinal, but athletes use them for sports
to get unfair advantages.
Yes, that's it. And there are methods which are used to detect them. However, women in particular, and I think it is addressed. It is addressed nowadays.
It's being addressed.
No, it is addressed. It was addressed. One, you're supposed to know that as a woman, you are entitled to a female chaperone. A female chaperone who will escort you wherever you are once you're identified that you're going to undergo a test. Once you're identified, you're entitled to a female chaperone. Never should you allow a male chaperone. And a female, sometimes they use a male doping control officer, sometimes a female doping control officer, but the chaperone has to be your same sex.
With the athlete all the time.
With the athlete. Why? We want to remove those issues of sexual harassment and also inappropriateness, because you're going to undress in front of someone and you give out your urine sample. So that's why it's how does it affect a woman? A woman should know your right, that you are entitled to a female chaperone. And nowadays women still abuse drugs, especially hormones, which are usually found in men, which are male hormones. Like testosterone, for example, is predominantly a male hormone. So now females use that hormone
to enhance their performance,
to get
an advantage
over their female counterparts. But of course, we are thankful for the methods which are already in place. So now we can detect that someone, a female, has taken a hormone which is for the male.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's scary. That is scary, and you're laughing. It's scary.
No, it's yes, it is. It is scary, and I'm telling you the truth. The World Anti-Doping Agency is catching so many culprits who are abusing drugs. Yes.
So what needs to be done?
What needs to be done? It depends on your level of participation in sports. Level of participation in sports, I mean, if you are a coach, if you are a parent, if you are a sports administrator,
Yes.
if you are an amateur sports performer, or if you are an elite sports performer, you have a role to play in catching these cheats. For example, if you're a parent, you should be very concerned about your students' your child's performance. If you see your child is performing extremely well, don't take it for granted.
Okay.
Take an extra look that is my child is my child using some substance?
Does that mean as a parent then you approach the coach to find out?
Yes. And because some coaches, sorry to say, are unprofessional.
Yes.
They introduce kids these drugs when they're still young. Oh, you take this shot, you take this drink.
That is where I was coming to, because some athletes don't actually know they're being given enhancing drugs. They don't know. They don't have that information that, you know, if you take this, if you're given this by a coach, because most of the time as an athlete, you trust your coach so much to the point that it becomes very difficult for you to mistrust them.
Yeah, they become your parent at that stage.
They become your parent.
But if you're parent and you see your child is performing well,
extremely well,
don't be excited. You go, you have a role to play in combating doping. You go and find out if they're doing it by their natural talent. Very good. But if you find out that there's some fishy deals being done, please you advise, you report to the authorities. What if
the child does not actually know that they're being given certain substances?
That's why I'm saying that if you see your child as a parent and is extremely performing well, you inquire, you investigate, you interrogate why are they performing extremely well. So because of that, so if they're doing it at their own with their own talent, that is interesting, that is very good. That is why I'm saying that everyone in this world has a role to play.
Yes.
Now, if you are a coach is about education.
Yes.
The National Anti-Doping Agency, the World Anti-Doping Agency, usually has seminars and workshops where coaches are educated about the dangers of using drugs, the dangers of using drugs in sports. Not only do they give unfair advantage to the opponent, but they destroy someone's health. Now just imagine there's a drug called insulin, which is used by diabetic patients.
Yes.
But the advantage with using that drug is that it mobilizes glucose. It brings glucose together.
Okay.
Such that when you're doing a sports activity, there's already a store for glucose and you get an added advantage over. Now just imagine you're using a drug and you're not sick.
So by the time you get sick?
Not by the time. So you're promoting a disease by yourself. So when you retire, just when that athlete retires, they will again get the disease. So coaches should worry about the health, the future health of their athletes. You are with this girl. She's maybe 14, 15, 16. You're giving her drugs. But you're giving her drugs, but you're not worried about their future health. So coaches, they have a role to play.
Yes.
What is the role of governments? Governments have a role to play in putting up regulations and rules. Recently in Kenya, our neighboring country, the government made a broad move, and it made it illegal and criminal for someone who is guilty of doping. So by so doing, you're deterring use of drugs. Also, governments have a role they play in fighting trafficking. For example, some drugs are illegal, like cannabis, marijuana in Uganda. So by by having a role to play in avoiding the trafficking of these drugs. The governments are playing a great role in reducing doping. Then what about athletes themselves? The athletes themselves, they have a right to ask. They have a right to know.
Yes.
Because finally the anti-doping code puts the burden of proof on themselves.
On the athletes.
On the athletes.
Okay.
They are entirely responsible on what they take in their body. So whatever they find in their body after testing them, they have to defend it.
Yes.
So that is why athletes are encouraged to inquire, to know whatever they are taking in, especially the very elite athletes. Very elite athletes, even a simple prescription, you're supposed to inquire from your doctor that isn't this prohibited in sports. So in that way, the fight against this use,
the doping,
the doping things should be well handled.
Wow, Dr. Zavuga, I mean, some of this information, we cannot get, we don't know where to find you. But it's very good information for all athletes. It's very good information for coaches. It's good information for parents to know what your child or your athlete or your student is consuming, so that at the end of the day, whatever happens, we are all responsible. Yes, and
there's something called nutrition supplements. Nutritional supplements. What are they?
What exactly? What? Because I've been to the national team where they're telling us the athletes need nutritional supplements, and I'm like, what are they for?
Okay, generally they are used to supplement the nutrients you don't have in your body. That's why we call them nutritional supplements. And some countries, some areas, some athletes are not endowed with the natural nutrients. Some foods don't have as enough nutrients as the rest. So coaches and doctors usually prescribe nutritional supplements like vitamins, like protein.
But you're supposed to ask what it is for.
Which is okay. However, the manufacturers, because for them it's a sports making business, money making business. Manufacturers of these nutritional supplements sometimes add these drugs which are not acceptable in sports, because they want them to work. For example, someone can advertise that this is a nutritional supplement and it gives you extra muscles.
And you find the guys are mugged.
You just know that that's a steroid inside there. So now, but they are wrongly marketed.
Okay.
You find that the supplement is contaminated with the substances which are not allowed, and it's wrongly marketed. So in short, I would say that we don't advise our athletes, especially the female athletes, to take nutritional supplements. However, if you want and you must, please, you must inquire from your team doctor or a qualified medical person who would advise you whether it is acceptable or not acceptable, whether it is contaminated or not contaminated.
You've heard it from the doctor. Dr. Zavuga, Robert, thank you very much for your time, and that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.